I think the biggest mistake that women make with their careers is being in the background, being comfortable being in the background and not wanting to be visible, not wanting to speak up, not wanting to bring themselves to the forefront, not wanting to be seen, and not believing in themselves. But we are fortunate in our country that we've got legislation that brings in equity and redress and has for the past 30 years facilitated and anchored the growth and development of women. Mm-hmm. And this is through employment equity and affirmative action and black broad-based economic empowerment. Mm-hmm. And despite those interventions, we still see women who don't feel comfortable amplifying their skill sets, their competence, what their contribution has been. Women still shy away from the limelight. And
good day and welcome to another session of Women in Leadership with Vee. Women in Leadership with Vee is brought to you by Diversity SA. Diversity SA is a management consulting company in diversity, equity and inclusion. And for this episode, I'm excited to have Eleanor with us. Eleanor Mathole-Khiba. Eleanor, I think I'm going to leave the introduction of the names to you. Eleanor, who is Eleanor?
I'm Eleanor Mathole-Khiba, Managing Director for Lead Edge Coaching Services. My company focuses on coaching, leadership coaching, management coaching, career coaching, as well as life coaching. Another area that we want to introduce in our area is divorce coaching, which is a discipline rarely known in South Africa, but it's what we will be introducing as part of our offerings. Personally, I am a mother of 3 adults, males. The first is my sister's son, who I consider my own because I raised him. Then I've got 2 of my own. So that's who I am at the moment.
Oh, wow. So you are a mother, you are a career coach, you are a leadership coach, you are an executive. How do you balance your professional with your personal life?
It's not an easy thing to maintain a balance, but I'm intentional about the various roles that I play in my space as a coach, as well as somebody who's running their own business. In my space as an employee at a leadership level, and my role within community. And it's about being intentional and purposeful about the various roles that we play in various aspects of our lives, and also building a network of trusted people around you. So I've built that network of people around me that I trust, that are able to support me, that are still able to assist me in the various roles that I play in my career trajectory. So in my coaching space, I also have my own coach that coaches me. In my executive space, I've got my own mentor that mentors me. And in my role in the community space, I work a lot with churches, I work a lot with pastors and pastors' wives and the young people. And that is my safety net, and that fulfills me in a great deal.
And that's important. We can't do it alone. Okay. You started as an educational psychologist, and now you've moved into the talent management space, the leadership coaching space. How do you match the 2 together?
Honestly, I started out as a teacher many years ago. And then I moved into educational psychology. Then I reskilled myself into human resource development. Then later talent management. Then I moved into organizational development also. There is a thin line between education happening in the school context and education happening in the work context. So the transition was not a challenge for me because it was familiar. Hence, human resource development is referred to as education, training, and development practices. The difference is the methodology. In the school setup, the methodology that applies is pedagogy. In the work environment, because it's adult learners, the methodology that applies is andragogy, but the principles remain the same. So I was able to transition very smoothly from my role as a teacher into my role as director, human resource development, many years ago.
Okay, that's interesting. Because now as you're talking, I'm thinking about lifelong learning, that you were able to transition and do something different. That's quite interesting. You are also a talent management strategist. What does that mean and what does it entail?
Talent management strategist is about understanding the talent economics, acknowledging that talent does not happen in a vacuum. It happens under the backdrop of environmental factors, externally to an organization and internally within an organization. And typically, these environmental factors would be the state of the economy, so the economic backdrop. It would also be understanding the socio-political backdrop. It would be understanding the impact of technology on talent. The impact of legislation on talent. Those are the particular environmental factors. So understanding those environmental factors and mitigating the risks associated with those environmental factors for the benefit of an organization in terms of attracting the right talent, developing the right talent, and retaining the right talent. And this is done purposefully because organizations are about the bottom line, which is financial performance. And you grow financial performance based on your human resources, the type of employees that you have, their skills base, and ensuring that you are able to harness their skills, their competences, and translate that into business financial performance. So that's what talent management is about. It's about sustaining the organizational performance through the type of human resources that you bring into the organization and you retain into the organization for business continuity.
Okay, wow. Okay, let me ask you this one, because you are a leadership in the career coach. And you've worked in a number of government departments as well as state-owned companies. What is the biggest mistake that women make with their careers?
I think the biggest mistake that women make with their careers is being in the background, being comfortable being in the background and not wanting to be visible, not wanting to speak up, not wanting to bring themselves to the forefront, not wanting to be seen, and not believing in themselves. But we are fortunate in our country that we've got legislation that brings in equity and redress and has for the past 30 years facilitated and anchored the growth and development of women. And this is through employment equity and affirmative action and black broad-based economic empowerment. And despite those interventions, we still see women who don't feel comfortable amplifying their skill sets, their competence, what their contribution has been. Women still shy away from the limelight, and they are not telling their stories, their experiences.
Yes, that's very true. It's very true. Wow. So what do you think? What advice would you give to women who want to be in the background, but they're doing the work, but they don't want to be seen?
I think we need to encourage women to come out. First of all, I need to clarify, there's nothing wrong being in the background, but you're robbing other women an opportunity to learn from your career trajectory. It's an opportunity to come out and mentor and grow the next generation of leaders. One is not a leader till such time they have birthed and multiplied themselves through growing and developing the next cohort of the next generation leaders.
That's true.
So We need women to be out there as mentors, as coaches, as guides, as sponsors for other women and grow them in the various career trajectories that they are at that particular point in time. So my advice to women is that believe in yourself. Believe in your innate capabilities. Believe in the fact that you've got a purpose, and part of that purpose is making sure that you pass on the baton to the next generations.
Yes, amen to that. That's quite powerful. Okay, let's come back to the foundation. Your work in the foundation. What does it entail?
Okay, I run Eleanor Mathole-Khiba Foundation. The foundation focuses on the growth and development and empowerment of the boy child. Now, I know that some may say, why the boy child? When the male species has been advantaged over decades, over generations. For the 30 years that we've had the new dispensation, our democracy in our country, we've fast-tracked and empowered the girl child, and rightfully so. But in the process, we left the boy child behind. And if you look at the statistics in terms of drug and alcohol abuse, it's the male child that ranks the highest in terms of drug abuse and substance abuse. When you look at the rate of unemployment, it's the male child or the male that is unemployed. At great length, the statistics are high there. I might not go into the numbers now, but when you also look at the rate of gender-based violence, the perpetrators are often male. And in leaving the male child behind, we are breeding toxic masculinity, and we need to address that. And empowerment programs that address the plight of the male child are very important. And that is my purpose in empowering the boy child, in addressing and developing positive masculinity and addressing the issue of fatherlessness amongst our youth and the impact this has on the male child. The absence of positive male role models for boy children is a serious area that we need to gather all our efforts and our resources and address.
Definitely. Okay, what would you say to a woman who's raising boys? What advice would you give them?
Raising boys and should not be seen as something unique to raising the girl child. But at the same time, we need to create environments in our homes that are safe for the boy child as well as safe for the girl child. And when I talk about safe, I talk about psychological safety also. We need to be aware of the messages that we are passing on into our boy children. When we handle our boy child in such a manner that breeds toxic masculinity, we are disempowering them. When we perpetuate the stereotype, the typical male stereotype that results into males dominating, males exploiting their masculinity in such a manner that it's harmful to the girl child or to women, it's something that we need to be aware of. It's us mothers who raise these children in the homes that we have. And we need to then create spaces where the boy child can firstly express themselves. Secondly, we need to be aware of what we are passing on as lessons to the boy child. We need to be sensitive of the messages that we pass on to the boy child. We also need to be sensitive of what we are teaching the male child in relation to the fair agenda, the women. I know of instances where the male child will say, this is all I've known. They've grown up in environments of gender-based violence, of abuse, some. And they would say, this is all I know. I've seen my father treat my mother this way. And I then treat the women in my life the same way, because that's all they have known. So we need to break that cycle. And in breaking that cycle, my advice to women is that be aware of the messages, be intentional in your parenting, and be firm, but at the same time gentle. So it's a paradox, but balancing firmness and gentleness, and also allowing the men in the lives of the boy child to play their role as men and as fathers. That's very important.
It is important. Wow, that's profound advice. Let's come back to you and your future. What is in your future? What is in your bucket list? Anything exciting that we need to know about?
Well, I'm going to use this opportunity to really speak positively about my future. I'm about 7-8 years from retirement. So I'm looking towards not retiring. So I'll start a new career when I retire. When I retire from active mainstream work, I would still be running my coaching practice. I will be intentional about developing and nurturing the next cohort of women leaders. And already we are doing that through Lead Edge Coaching Services, where our clients are predominantly women in middle management and in junior management that we are coaching and passing the baton on to. I will also still be active in the sense that I will expand my coaching services to also include consulting services in talent management, in organization development, in industrial psychology, educational psychology, as well as talent development. So in essence, my retirement will be from mainstream work as an employee, but I'll be taking a different role as an employer and provide opportunities for the young people to also grow their career trajectory. So that's my plan.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's why I said when I listen to you, I think about lifelong learning and just learning, continue to reinvent yourself. So I'm not sure, is that your legacy that you want to leave, or you've got a different legacy that you want to leave? How do you want to be remembered?
I first of all, I would want to say that a legacy, we always think of a legacy as something that we leave behind. And I always believe that a legacy is not so much about what we leave behind, but what we send forward. So I will be sending forward and passing the baton to the next generation. And I'm not going to wait for the time that I retire from mainstream employment to do that. I'm already preparing to do that whilst I'm still active, whilst I'm still in employment. And I'm saying this because my leadership philosophy with the team that I work with, I empower them to work and to take decisions and be accountable for the decisions and the choices that they make in their work environment. Mine is to guide. Mine is to influence. Mine is to support. Mine is to sponsor. So in terms of what I would want to be remembered for, is to be remembered as that woman who lived her life to the fullest, that woman who shared her most with the community, that woman who planted seeds and those seeds are germinating, that woman who shared and poured onto others as much as I had other women pour into me. I am who I am today because there were other women who poured into me. And I would want to be remembered as a woman who has poured into other women.
That's true. So you're planting the trees.
I'm planting
and other women are gonna sit in the shade. That's great. So what would you say to a young girl who says, I want to be a talent management strategist? What advice would you say to her?
I would actually say to the young women who want to pursue a career as a talent strategist, to say, first of all, education. Get the right education. Secondly, get yourself a mentor, somebody who's going to walk the journey with you and not only cheer you on, but also call you out. Very often we are afraid to be called out when we are in the wrong. and it's a developmental process. Thirdly is to say, do your internship, qualify as an industrial psychologist, then go into the space as a talent practitioner. Read. Leaders are readers. You cannot lead, you cannot be a talent strategist without understanding what's happening in your internal environment and external environment.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So those would be my word of advice. And lastly, believe in yourself, believe in a higher source that empowers you, that makes things capable and suitable for you, a higher source that guides you, a higher source that anchors you. Very often people shy away from anchoring themselves on a higher source.
Mm-hmm.
Anchoring yourself on a higher source actually allows you to be yourself, to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say to younger women, be yourself in all of you do, and bring the best in all that you do.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That was about the talent management strategist. Was that the life advice that you're giving? Any more gems of wisdom from yourself?
I think the gem of wisdom again is surrounding yourself with a trusted network. We are not born in isolation. We are social beings. And to really succeed in your career, you need to network. Additional to the education, the experience, the knowledge, the competence, one has to build the right networks. And the right networks get you to where you want to be. So I always say to people, speak life to yourself in such a manner that you are at the right place at the right time, with the right people that can open doors for you that no one else can shut. So it's about building the right networks around you, and not just a network but a trusted network. So pick the people that you want in your boat very carefully. It shouldn't be those that will drill holes in your boat and then you sink. It should be those that can help you steer the boat to where you want it to go. That's what I have done in my career, and it has, and in my life, and it has worked.
Yeah, that's true. They say you are the company you keep.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Any other thing you want to share with us?
I would like to really thank you for this opportunity, and acknowledge that you are really doing a great job.
Thank you.
And it is my hope, as well as my desire, to see what you do expand, so that you can touch the lives of many women, particularly younger women, young professionals, and connect the young professionals to those professionals that are about to exit their active career life, because there are wells and wells of wisdom that can be harnessed for the benefit of the young professionals. So let this grow to a magnitude where the waves are spreading and the space of influence is enlarged. So thank you very much for the work that you do.
Thank you so much. There you've got it. That was Eleanor Mathole-Khiba. And sitting here, I've learned a lot about lifelong learning, but mostly about intention. She is intentional in everything that she does. This episode was brought to you by Diversity SA. Diversity SA is a management consulting company in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like us, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and good day.